Time in becomes time out. Group anxieties become personal doubt. Expressing ourselves in dots and dashes, pure cocaine and false eyelashes. Living inside words that seem to lie. Living inside excuses that pass us by. Living inside loneliness becomes a high. Living gets mixed up with wanting to die. A daily question of going insane. While tormenting one another, trying to ease the strain. Dreaming of tomorrows we'd like to know. Repressing our thoughts, but wanting to grow. The heart and soul are not involved. Idle chatter becomes reality, while problems go unsolved. Prearranged, prefabricated, and preconditioned, we're baptized, advertised, and posthumously mentioned. Weaned and groomed for the glory of applause, living off the mercy of unwritten laws. Shell-shocked patrons making peace with God, while admiring acrobatics of a junkie's nod. Turned into robots through the power of suggestion, we seek an answer and become the question. We want to be amorous, glamorous, and larger than life. Our cheap illusions become high-priced strife. Losing ourselves in times of despair, becoming self-defeaters of unusual flair. We rush towards the beginning that might be the end. We sit in the darkness and try to pretend, pointing fingers while our insides bleed, committing suicide to fulfill a need. Highly intelligent in a very low way. We speak of resisting but have nothing to say. We touch religion and make it seem like hell, but then we touch unholy dreams and wish them well. Faith is replaced with apathy and grief. Indifference is made acceptable, and then a belief. Our left eyes all glitter while our right are blind. We submit to this madness and hope it is kind. We confuse the normal and we exalt the extreme. We make war a reality and call peace a dream. American contradictions in black and white. We illuminate contradiction and call it the light. But from the darkness of ourselves, we can find it by the day. Understanding and truth must show the way. To understand that every man's color will not be his heart. To go inside yourselves is where it must start. To learn to be considerate, to learn to be humane, to learn to use power and not become vain. To understand you can be strong and not be crude. You can be outspoken and not be rude. To revile the tyrant, to protect the weak, to ensure the innocent the right to be meek. To look on the sea and understand its motion, to understand tenderness and give it devotion, to understand courtesy and to make it a pact, to understand what love is and make it a fact. Because we all must struggle, we all must try, because somewhere in the future we all must die. But to leave a legacy which will long unfurl, that ours too was a struggle for a better world.
I remember the bed just floating there. Apart, 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 apart. My mother taught me this trick. If you repeat something over and over again, it loses its meaning. For example, homework, 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 see, nothing. Our existence, she said, is the same way. You watch the sunset too often, it just becomes 6 p.m. You make the same mistake over and over, you'll stop calling it a mistake. If you just wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, one day you'll forget why. Nothing is forever, she said. My parents left each other when I was 7 years old. Before their last argument, they sent me off to the neighbor's house, like some astronaut jettisoned from the shuttle. When I came back, there was no gravity in our home, beds floating. I imagined it as an accident. That when I left, they whispered to each other, "I love you," so many times over that they forgot what it meant. Family, 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 family. My mother taught me this trick. If you repeat something over and over again, it loses its meaning. This became my favorite game. It made the sting of words evaporate. Separation, separation, separation. See, nothing. Apart, 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 apart. See, nothing. I'm an injured handyman now. I work with words all day. Shut up. I know the irony. When I was young, I was taught that the trick to dominating language was breaking it down, convincing it that it was worthless. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. See, nothing. Soon after my parents' divorce, I developed a stutter. Fate is a cruel and efficient tutor. There is no escape in stutter. You feel the meaning of every word drag itself up your throat. Separation. Stutter is a cage made of mirrors. Are you okay? What do you say? Come on, kids, spit it out. Is a glaring reflection you cannot escape. Every terrible moment skips upon its own announcement over and over until it just hangs there, floating in the middle of the room. Mom, Dad, I'm not wasteful with my words anymore. Even now, after hundreds of hours practicing away my stutter, I still feel the claw of meaning in the bottom of my throat. I've heard that even in space, you can hear the scratching of an I love you.
He say I'm still writing about old stuff. Guess I ain't got over it yet. He don't like how what I write make him look like he ain't shit. Like he ain't raised his kids. Like he don't love us still. Guess I shouldn't write the truth. Guess I shouldn't write how I feel, the way I grew up, the way I woman now. Guess I shouldn't make him look like he ain't nothing but some sperm donor. Some dude. He say he tired of not being the hero in my poems. I say, me too. I write what I know. He don't like the memories he left me with, me neither. Don't like being reminded of his faults, but I look in the mirror every day, got his face, what that make me? I say, how I'm supposed to escape? He say, you bitter. I say, that's what happens when you leave and ain't got nothing when you come back. I say, where I'm from, that shit hurts. He say, you ain't gonna be successful. I say, you made sure of that. And even if I am, you ain't gonna have shit to do with that either. Let's go. He say, I bought you ice cream once. Took you to the movies a few times. Made you dinner. Remember I came to your volleyball game once. And that one time you played Powder Puff. Remember I played you in Tekken. Remember I met your boyfriend once, twice, maybe 3 times. Remember I bought that one book for that one class when you was in college that one time. Remember I was at your graduation. Remember I came to your new house. Remember I was at your wedding. Remember we danced. Remember. I say you show up to be seen. To get praise and glory that don't belong to you. Damn, I must be ungrateful. Needing more than one book. Help paying off these student loans. All you've done shit. Guess I shouldn't need for shit. Not that shoulder when I got that divorce. When I almost got raped. When I broke my ankle playing those sports. Guess I was only hungry once. Can watch the same movie for the rest of my life. Eat only one flavor of ice cream. But I heard Baskin Robbins got 32. Guess I ain't need no talking to on how to get hurt by all these boys. You the best lesson. Guess your hurt was enough for the big of us. What? You're right. I act like you ain't do nothing. Guess I ain't Christian. Guess I can't get over it. I'm so mean. I treat you so bad. Talk to you so funny. Guess when I left. Guess when you left me. I took you from me. Guess without you I'd have nothing to write about. So thank you for teaching me how to make nothing out of something the way you raised me.
My great-grandfather was a railroad worker in Nebraska. Every morning he would creep from his bed like a cold sweat to greet the dawn, his hands, still blackened by ash from the night before, his skin as brown as the dirt he used to plot his tracks. Back when the men in my family still made love in Spanish, before the machines came and made quick work of his legacy, there was he, a pair of calloused hands, the molten soldering of iron and steel, cut fingers and furrowed brow, a procession of blows striking metal like thunder. Every morning, my great-grandfather hammered the salt of his sweat into railroad tracks like a signature. He knew that this was a nothing town and that these tracks were just a detour on the way to somewhere more important. He couldn't speak a word of English, but his hammer understood the braille hidden beneath the steel. My great-grandfather spoke the language of pluming smoke, the rising whistle of steam, his tongue, a rough flint, every word, an orange spark. He found God in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, in the way the sun made love to the prairies, in the whistle of passing trains. This is how he met my great-grandmother, a dry corn husk of a woman as frail and flammable as they come. That summer, she fell in love with a man made of sparks, my great-grandfather, the man who smiled like matches. He had one for each of their 12 children, loved them all the way that coal burned. You see, his hands were hot enough to scald metal, so his hands were hot enough to scald his children. I don't know whether it was the drinking or the schizophrenia that soldered his mind shut, but once the smoke had no place to escape, his eyes became a flurry of black smog. He could no longer hold back the steam that boiled in the furnace of his throat, so he boarded up the windows, took the biggest belt in the drawer, lined each of his children out like railroad tracks and beat them like the molten soldering of iron and steel, beat them like a procession of blows striking metal like thunder. Every night, my great-grandfather hammered the salt of his sweat into his children like railroad tracks, like a signature, like branding cattle, the way a ravenous flame devours a countryside, the crackle of a pot, the boil of a furnace, a slow, controlled burn of a childhood raised in a house of falling ashes. My grandmother's burns have faded into scars that match her complexion. If you weren't looking closely, you would never know that she once danced with fire. My mother still scalds her fingers on the stove out of habit. She cannot close her eyes without seeing a silhouette of black smoke in the shape of my father. Sometimes my temper flares so hot, I can see my mother start to wilt in front of me. My voice carries enough steam to sear arguments in half with the kind of insults you have to love someone to learn how to use. My partners have all been afraid of me. They know all too often how easily I combust. I have a blowtorch temper that sears through even the thickest of flesh, and no one is safe. There's something flammable about the men in my family. The heredity of this dull flame we keep locked inside the crucible of our chests. How easily we set fire to the ones we love. I can't help but wonder who'll be the next to burn.
Anonymous box questions a 6th grade boys group asked their sex education teacher. Ms. Ebony, if you don't have a condom, can you use a plastic bag? What is it? No. Plastic bags won't protect you from STDs or prevent pregnancy. Ms. Ebony, can a girl get pregnant if I put my pita in her ear? No, that was an episode from Family Guy. This is real life. In this class, we will only use medically correct terms. What's another word for balls? Testicles. Miss Ebony, why do girls scream when they have sex, and what if the bed breaks? Men and women make noises as a pleasurable response, and in most cases, this is normal and okay. And if the bed is not sturdy, it could break, but hopefully no one gets hurt. I am trained. To answer these questions. But sometimes I want to say, if there is a girl who will allow you to put a plastic bag inside her, this is not the girl for you. Ejaculating into anyone's ear, is gross and confusing. Because why would you want to do that? You could say nuts, teabag, sack beans, boys, friends, but who the hell is Peter? And not all women scream because not all of us need to. Oh. The question you should be more concerned with is, how will I know if she's faking it or not? But none of the above have to do with the bed breaking. But then there are questions. Put into the box with Tim's name attached, as true as a sun admits it's a star, with print as small as the signature of a gnat, evenly folded to show me how careful I have to be in answering his questions. Why? Does liking the color pink make me gay? And if I am, is it bad? And I immediately wanted to show him how to become camouflage, how to give up his shadow and become a closet and say they have picket signs and slanderous tongues shaped like swords of malice, that we all have a certain prejudiced bully inside us. You, boy, must not believe in being outcasted. And blue. Blue is more fitting for the sinking emotions you might feel, or to show the lifespan of your bruises that haven't quite healed yet, or to show the color of your iris before a piece of you turned gray. Tim, with all 206 bones, 17 of them reaching for me in his eyes, looks at me the way he does hope, and the ability to love outside of himself is waiting for an answer. So I say, you could be a pink Spider-Man if you want to. A bow tie, a cupcake with pink insides, as long as your heartbeat, preference, and colors have to do with emotion. So you should do what feels good. You gotta be willing to be brave enough to be the only one who knows you're afraid. Bad is hiding inside yourself. Bad is someone judging you by what they don't understand, and in which direction your heart goes when love is supposed to be a good thing that you shouldn't have to control or use a cookie cutter to recreate. That love can be a person, place, or thing, and any emotion you can wrap around that special person that makes your heart explode when they walk into a room. There is no crossing skull bones over your heart. You are a good thing that someone be dying to get next to, and there is no shame in that.
Yo. Shoot. You irritating. Yo. Welcome to SoapBOX Poetry Radio. We back. This my, you don't know, understand. Curtis Mayfield is my man, bro. Yes. Oh. I touched it. Wait, I think I need to. Wow. How y'all feeling?
Good, man.
Maybe it's the.
Or was it just low?
You good? I hear you. Anyway, welcome back to SoapBOX Poetry Radio. Yo, Tyler, get your life together, please.
What up?
This
what
is,
up?
You're
She
not
is together.
Beyonce.
She's together.
Whatever. All right. It's your girl, Metamorphosis, on SoapBOX Poetry Radio. I'm feeling good. How y'all feeling? How you feeling, Tyler?
I'm good. Juju went on the beat and what I am.
Okay. How you feeling, Carlos?
I'm chilling.
How y'all week going?
It's chilling.
It's chill.
Pretty productive. Got a lot of stuff done. So now, just whatever.
All right.
Just whatever.
Things in my life feel less like a routine and more like, I'm just trying to make more things fun.
Oh, look at you being responsible. Well, I like to call this month Opportunity October. It's really been, it's really been pretty dope. It's pretty dope with the poetry scene or whatever. I got to meet Marvin Hassan. Yo, he was one of the last poets, so he was really dope. He was really cool. He told me, make sure when you perform for the right reasons. He tried to spit some dope stuff to me, and I was like, yeah, yo, I'm feeling it. I don't mean to say tried. I mean, he did spit some dope stuff. Nice. I feel like this beat completely shows who he is as a person and as a spirit. So yeah.
What kind of spirit?
What kind of spirit is Umar?
Yeah.
He's very
like jazzy spirit.
He's very jazzy. When you listen to the last poets, it's like, actually, let's get some info on them. We haven't done a poet. We haven't did a poet in a day. Yeah, they incorporated a lot into their poetry, like music and scatting and dance and everything. Actually, let's get some info on them last poets. We haven't did a poet of the day in ever.
We never did this on this show.
We never did this on this show, yeah. But all right. So Last Poets is the name for several groups of poets and musicians who arose from the late 1960s African American civil rights movements, Black nationalist movement, and all that from East Harlem, New York City. Yeah. Speaking of,
and you met Umar Hassan.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he actually lives here in Baltimore. So yeah, it was really lit. It was really lit.
Okay.
Really jazzy. I got to see him perform with all of my mentors, and that was like a great experience. But question of this week: what is your top 5 most talked about subjects in your art? Now, Tyler, you write a little bit. So, what are your top 5?
Okay, watch this. It's gonna get a little personal. I like to talk about love. I like to talk about cosmic mandates. I like to talk about
Cosmic mandates.
yeah, like stuff that you can't, that's out of your control.
Ooh.
I like to talk about my anxiety. I think I have a top 3 because I like to be observative. I'd like to talk about just like small poems and stuff that's happening around me.
Right.
Poetic way. That's pretty much it, to be honest. I like to talk about I don't know. I made a whole poem about this little girl crying to her mom, shouting that she doesn't want to be broke. That was a good.
Would that go with cosmic mandates?
Nah, I think that went with like being observant about the world around me, or like just being. I don't know. When she said it, I just giggled a little bit. So I guess I was being introspective because I would have said the same thing if I had the chance to my mom. If that makes sense.
We getting real jazzy in here. What about you, Carlos? I know you do art, but you still do some writing too.
Yeah.
So what are your top 5 or less or more?
I don't even really know. I don't even think about like what I write. I just whatever comes.
How about what you draw?
Yeah, what about
I don't
that?
even think about that. Like I gotta go back and look at it. I'm like, what?
You draw a lot of women.
If you could put them in topics, what would
Topics?
what topics would you put them in?
Topics. I don't know. It just ranges with many emotions, I guess. I don't know. Whatever is. I don't know. Like, cause you can interpret things so many different ways. So like, it's hard to tell.
Word, right. Okay, so I said that. Nah, I ain't gonna accept that answer, nigga. Put it.
What you talking about accepting?
I don't want to accept it. I didn't already accept it. I revoked my acceptance. Because I read your poems. I can do this for you.
Read my poems? I don't know, man. Like, I don't even think about it like that. Like,
just so
the poems I
discouraged.
sent you, though, like, that was just me getting over, like, the fighting issues. That was it.
Okay, so fighting, boxing.
That was it. Like, I was done after that. I was like, I gotta get this out of the way.
That's good
Boxing,
though.
like, that's violence, that's about it. Like, I don't know. Like,
Family.
family?
Mm-hmm.
True, that
So
is
family,
hard to
violence,
write, I
fighting.
guess.
2 more. Come on.
Strong topics.
Ooh, let's get into like some kung fu stuff. Dishonor.
Dishonor.
Ooh.
Ooh, no, dishonor. No, that's kind of
I don't know about that.
Dishonor
young.
on you.
Dishonor. Dishonor.
That
Light
is
skin.
not
And then
even there.
light skin shit.
No light skin shit. What is
It's like,
that?
nah, but
Wait, what is that?
colorism.
What is that?
We have a
Wow.
caller calling.
That's
we have a
not
caller.
no
Oh, we
man
got a
in my
caller.
stuff.
We got a caller. Yo. Welcome to SoapBOX. What's up? Who's this?
Hey, it's Julia.
Julia. How are you? How you doing?
Yeah.
I'm good.
You know I
I'm
never
good.
make a
You know,
fool of
chilling.
Wow, what are you
He's like,
doing?
I'm sorry.
So, Julia, how are you?
I'm good. You know, I'm feeling very poetic today.
Oh, where?
Right time.
Oh, I mean, if you want to share some poems, that's cool. But I actually want to ask you, what is your top 5 topics?
Well, since I'm a relatively new poet, I don't really know my top 5. But I know for me, it's always been love, family, and myself are my top 3. The other 2
okay.
are still trying to come about.
Okay, cool. So, which one do you feel most defines you as a poet?
I've come to the weird realization that I'm, probably because I'm a Leo, I'm very conceited. So myself is always a big topic because I always tend to kind of like do flashback type poetry where I talk about my childhood and talk about how it's changed me to who I am today.
Yo, I be thinking about that. I'm also a Leo. I be thinking about that all the time. I've never put pen to a paper, but I always like get real introspective to that point. Like, yo, the way I grew up really does shape who I am. But I'm like, it doesn't define who I'm gonna be. Does that make sense?
Where
Yeah.
So which one of those three are your favorite? Oh, well, yourself, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
That
no,
Leo
actually,
status.
that's the ones I write the most because like a lot of my poems start like with when I was younger or as a little kid or something like that. But my favorite ones are sadly love poems. I'm a sap, so love poems forever my favorite.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a total sap.
Oh, a little hopeless romantic. Do you want to
Yes.
share any of
No
those poems
shame.
with us?
I can. I wasn't expecting to spit nothing, but
I mean, if you're not feeling any of them, it's okay. You can always come back and talk to us. But if you would like to, we would love to hear you.
You have to
I
do
might
it.
have something. Oh, I got the perfect piece. Give me a second.
Litness.
I got the perfect piece, y'all. And this kind of goes back to my whole I'm obsessed with love poems thing.
Spit it.
So basically the poem is called Return the Sender. And you'll understand why in a second. Excuse me, I haven't spit this piece in a minute, so bear with me. Dear someone, I don't know how to put this, and you may think I'm insane, but I wanted to tell you something for a long time, but I never knew how. I don't know if it's just because you hate me or you think I'm ugly, but I think you're beautiful. With your nappy dark hair that people always talk about like they hosted The View, and when you dress in all black, you're as hot as the sun. Seriously, I can see the sweat stains. You're prettier than an angel, so stop wishing you were one. Banishing yourself to hell won't make you a demon, and you are too precious to burn. I know you want to break the mirror when you see your reflection, but when you do, I'll be there to put you back together. You may be clumsy because of your clown feet and British gap, but you are more royal than any Englishman. You are my queen. Your face may crack when you smile, but I'll be your mask, being the only one to see you broken. I'll cradle your pieces and hold you together. When you cry, I'll cry. When you're sad, I'm sad. Now, we're not perfect, and we'll fight and get mad, but I would die without you. We will always be together because no matter how much we fight, if you go, my soul dies. Basically, I want to say, I love you. Te amo. Te adoro. I don't know how I have to say it for you to get it. And before you say anything, let me say, you are my everything, even when you think you're nothing. Your smile is made up of stars, and your voice is the moan of angels, because only pleasure can describe you. You are amazing and smart and incredibly, undeniably, no questions asked, the best girl in the world. No one else matches up to your skills. You may be afraid of commitment, and so am I, but I would sell my soul if it meant you would understand how much I care about you, that I will cuddle you when you're in bed crying and wipe away each tear of insecurity. I'd hold your hand when you're scared to take the next step, but I'll be your Superman, indestructible for the both of us. Seeing someone so sexy, sad, me so smile. Shine through the shadows, and soon someone will see that your joy is seamless. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you this in person, but you've broken the mirror too many times to see me. Love, yourself.
Wow. Wow.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. This was
No
amazing.
problem.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Oh, Tyler. I hope they heard that poem. Whoever's out there that you want, or it was yeah, that was great. That was just great. Thank you so much.
Well, the whole twist of the poem was like I wrote it to myself.
Right.
That's why it was called Return the Sender.
I was going to
So
say
eventually
that.
I'll believe it.
I was going to say that, but then I was like, crap, I already said what I said, and now I don't know what to do with my life.
No, but yep, I wrote this when like I was kind of in between relationships, and I was just like, I'm gonna write the love poem I never received. So.
Bet.
Love.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We love you.
All right, love y'all too. And next time I see you, Mecca, you may see me with cupcakes in hand. So I got
Yes.
you. You already know this.
Yes.
But where are mine?
You gotta meet Tyler. You gotta meet the whole crew. All right. Well,
Yo, bring me on the show one day. I'll bring y'all cupcakes.
got you.
Hey.
Bet. Thanks, Julia. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, she was lit. That was so nice. I want to write a poem. I want to write a love poem. I think it's weird that I don't write love poems.
It just depends on the person you are. I am not committed to anyone, so I feel clarity in writing about it. Just to
I
feel
mean, you could
something.
be
I don't
like
know.
unloved poems or
This is the
no
thing about
love
me, though.
poem.
When I do fall for someone, I am hopelessly like falling for them. Even if they don't show interest, I'll be like, no, I want you. So like, it'll just literally,
yeah. It be like that.
yeah, I'll like, even though like show all signs of like going back, danger, warnings, all that. I'll just be like, nope, diving in, don't give a fuck. And then
I don't know. I think if I feel like when I try and write a love poem, I just sound super duper duper corny. And I'm just like, ooh, you look like a sunshine beam, daddy, and I like you.
I feel as though no, when I write one, I'll try to get like dumb
deep,
super deep, but like I'll go into like the atmosphere and like the way the clouds will like morph into that person or some shit. It'll be like it's because it's like I don't know, and I feel like I just have to let go of that obsession in that way, because usually it doesn't work out, and through that I'll just like write a poem about it.
Sometimes I feel like I can't write them because I'm not really in love.
Then that's what that is.
Yeah, it's
just
like,
answered your own question.
Like, it's like, I don't know what's wrong with my life. All right, well, we're gonna go on break, and while we're on break, please try and call in and see if you want to talk to us about your top 5.
We love you.
We love you. This is Soapbox Poetry Radio. Speak outside the box.
So, when I was 10, I had this friend that we looked up to a lot, but whenever we were around each other, we did the dumbest shit and always got caught. I remember once him trying to dive out my bathroom window because my mom was going to whoop his ass. I was on the outside, so all I saw was his terrified face as she pulled him in and away from me. I haven't seen him in 20 years. You and he have the same color hair. When I was 15, I was seeing this girl, and my father had forbidden me from being with her, so I called her, and she said, I'll leave my front door unlocked. I said, I'll be there just as soon as my father leaves for his 11 o'clock, 12-hour third shift. And as I was making my way across town, a policewoman stopped me to see where I was supposed to be. I gave my girlfriend's address as my own, and I watched as that tough-as-nails officer turned mother figure right in front of my eyes and gave me a ride the rest of the way. My first booty call had a police escort. It's a true story. You and that cop have the same sweet face. I swear it's a compliment. When I was 13, my mom was dying. Waiting to be unplugged like a broken TV set. All the color and pictures that once filled her now gone. She couldn't move. And all I could do is stare at her purple swollen body through double-paned Loyola ICU glass. A nurse noticed my anguish and said, hey, kid, let me show you something I bet you don't know. Today, at sunset, your mom's going to make the entire city of Chicago turn gold. I followed him to the 6th floor of Stairwell 9. We could see the entire skyline. He said, close your eyes. Think of your favorite memory with your mother. And as I did, the sun sank behind us in the west. So when I opened my eyes, the city glowed like a jagged golden moon. And I knew my mom made it for me, at least on that day. Walking back to the waiting room, we had made our impromptu home. I noticed the chapel. And ducked inside. Saying no one, I began to pray out loud. I prayed as loud and as hard as a 13-year-old can. That's way harder than any adult can. I tried to tell God all the reasons I should be able to keep my mother. You can't rationalize with God. I begged God to let me keep her. God doesn't like beggars. Leaving, I saw the same nurse in the back pew, still smiling. You and the nurse have the same smile. I haven't prayed much since that day, but for some reason I like unanswered prayers. You are an unanswered prayer, silent, unspoken, personal wish. Some sunsets come at midnight, others
come at noon, and some give cities a golden heaven sent hue. That's what they're supposed to do. You are all sunsets.
The first time I saw her, everything in my head went quiet. All the tics, all the constantly refreshing images just disappeared. When you have obsessive compulsive disorder, you don't really get quiet moments. Even in bed, I'm thinking that lock the door, yeah, wash man's yeah, lock the door, yeah, wash man's yeah. When I saw her, the only thing I could think about was the hairpin curve of her lips, or the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek, the eyelash on her cheek. I knew I had to talk to her. I asked about 6 times. In 30 seconds. She said yes after the third one, but none of them felt right, so I had to keep going. On our first date, I spent more time organizing my meal by color than I did eating or fucking talking to her. But she loved it. She loved that I had to kiss her goodbye 16 times or 24 times if it was Wednesday. She loved it took me forever to walk home because there are lots of cracks on our sidewalk. When we moved in together, she said she felt safe, like no one would ever rob us because I definitely locked the door 18 times. I'd always watch her mouth when she talked, when she talked, when she talked, when she talked, when she talked. When she said she loved me, her mouth would curl up at the edges. At night, she'd lay in bed and watch me turn all the lights off and on and 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 off. She'd close her eyes and imagine that days and nights were just passing in front of her. Some mornings, I'd start kissing her goodbye, but she'd just leave because I was making her late for work. When I stopped at a crack in the sidewalk, she just kept walking. When she said she loved me, her mouth was a straight line. She told me I was taking up too much of her time. Last week, she started sleeping at her mother's place. She told me that she shouldn't have let me get so attached to her, that this whole thing was a mistake. But how can it be a mistake that I don't have to wash my hands after I touch her? Love, it's not a mistake. It's killing me. She can run away from this and I just can't. I can't go out and find someone new because I always think of her. Usually, when I obsess over things, I see germs sneaking into my skin. I see myself crushed by an endless possession of cards, and she was the first beautiful thing I ever got stuck on. I want to wake up every morning thinking about the way she holds her steering wheel, how she turns shower knobs like she's opening a safe, how she blows out candles, 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 blows out. Now, I just think about who else is kissing her. I can't breathe because he only kisses her once. He doesn't care if it's perfect. I want her back so bad. I leave the door unlocked. I leave the lights on.
When it comes to motherhood, I do not hesitate to say that I would want to raise all boys. I would want to be a mother to all sons.
If I've learned anything about being a man, it is that being a father is designed to be a contact sport, and far too many of us retire before we even see what the field looks like.
If I've learned anything about being a woman, it's that no matter how empowering I seem, my existence was designed to never stand a chance. When the state of Ohio found 2 16-year-old boys guilty of raping a 16-year-old girl, both boys cried their eyes out moments after the verdict.
Every major media news outlet coddled them instead of the girl they raped.
CNN was grieving over the death of their futures in football. They said nothing of the cemetery growing inside the body of the girl, nothing of the graveyard where she will bury her trust in men. Rape culture is the worst kind of teacher our kids are learning the most from. It teaches women that it's their responsibility to not get raped.
It teaches men that boys will be boys.
It teaches us that a short skirt and a smile is asking for it. It teaches us that it's not wrong unless someone comes to her rescue. And this is why I want all boys, because it's moments like these verdicts that make me numb to my own anger.
Afraid to even talk about this out loud.
The part where our first line of action as a people seeking justice is to trust the police more than we trust our children. It's to make out of the prison cell instead of showing them the way home. It's to use juvenile detention centers as an excuse for free childcare. The part where we celebrate our decision to throw another black boy into a cage and trust that prison will teach him how to respect women better than we ever could if we didn't give up on him. Jails will not fix broken people. Jails will break them harder.
Until all of them are shards of mirror hurting everyone them.
No wonder we can't see our reflections in their mistakes. Where do you think they learned this from anyways? I'll be damned if I stood here and said that I only had the capacity to love someone who's only been at the edge of the knife, at the barrel of the gun, and not have enough love to go around for the one who's holding the weapon.
And ask where did they get that from? Who taught them how to use it like that?
I'm not saying to feel sorry for anybody, and I'm not going to apologize for the way I feel about an issue as complex as this one, as complex as we are. I'm saying that one day I'm going to be a mother, and I'm going to have a son. And if I don't raise him in a community that will help me teach him how to unravel himself from his sexism, from the rotten parts of his masculinity, if he doesn't learn better from me, then what rape culture will teach him when I'm not looking.
And he's as good as crooked cop street.
As good as jailbird, wife beater, hopeless case, caged dog. He is as good as the next brown boy sobbing on the witness stand, apologizing to the girl that he raped.
He didn't mean to do it.
Promising that his mother taught him better than that. Hoping that somebody in that courtroom will forgive him for what he has yet to learn.
A tree fell in the forest. We gave away our shadows and stood for them. We acquired bird song through object-oriented inheritance. It came to us. The fuck do you care? You inherited it. Just like you inherited that uniform, that mindset. I am my own avatar. It means I paid for it all. Learn to be two places at once. Halloween of the spirit. Don't question or compare it. Don't let your feelings near it. Become or disappear it. Paid for it. Through jail time, paid for it. Through indentured, inhuman servitude. Don't like my attitude? Don't like my attitude?
You won't be silenced, know the noise came from you. The never-ending war will not be waged from you. The future is my home, it all came from you. Police and sirens, guns are on parade right here. You never touch my love.
The book, titled Adulterated, chronicles the love affair between Adama and Ahmad in the riot-filled streets of Baltimore City. This Amazon bestseller tells a thrilling tale of a whirlwind romance, wrought with social and political drama. Adulterated is now available on Amazon.com. Sex, love, scandal, adulterated. Get it now on Amazon.com.
The J.R. Wood Group of Senior Life Insurance Company offers final expense life insurance coverage for individuals ages 0 to 85. To apply for coverage, no medical exam, no physical exam. Just answer a few simple health questions to qualify. Apply by phone or schedule an in-home consultation. We provide products to fit your needs and your budget. Just call the J.R. Wood Group today. And remember, we've got you covered. 1-800-971-8028. That's the J.R. Wood Group. 1-800-971-8028. The J.R. Wood Group of Senior Life Insurance Company offers final expense life insurance coverage for individuals.
Making moves. Making moves.
They call me Humpty or Wumpa Dumpa Dumpty. I don't know the words, but I know the song. Okay, I need you to chill. You want to freestyle real quick? Okay. Making moves like a physics. Make a move like a physics equation. Newton's law. Newton's law got a Newton law. I don't know, man. What did we learn our lessons from last time? I was freestyling and I couldn't do it, and it just didn't work.
I mean, I was really bad.
Anyway, I never gave out my top 5. I just realized, and I didn't mean to do that. So my top five are family, responsibility, blackness, racism, and mental illness.
I could get with the mental illness. Blackness.
I can get with the mental.
Hold up. You know what? I talk about the white agenda a lot.
The white agenda?
Yeah, no, alright, no.
You know all that photep. Hey, queen. You don't know about that European doctrine.
She trying to clown me.
Queen, you don't know about that European doctrine, though.
Becca, I'm about to get you. No, I'm talking about the white agenda work. You know, you get the fucking you get those emails and like letters from like Sally Mae and like all these different colleges and stuff to like, I don't know, I've been through it firsthand where like fucking loan debt and like school debt and all that stuff just got to me like, oh wow, I went to like a PWI and thought my dreams could come true, but instead like I'm just stuck in the city where I grew up. I've been ostracized.
I feel you.
Yes.
I think that ties in with probably institutionalized racism.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yo, y'all can't. It's like I'm talking about like generic stuff. Y'all going into like the more descriptive versions of that generic stuff.
All right,
y'all funny.
Racism.
But my favorite thing to talk about of these topics. Thank you, Humpty Dance. Thank you so much. But my favorite topic will probably family or responsibility. Family. I write about the most, which is wild. Because I mean, like I think you write the most about what affects you the most.
Yeah.
So yeah. What was yours? Did you say what yours was?
I said love and cosmic mandate.
No, I mean like what was the one that affects you the most though? Like what do you write about the most?
I think that's different because some days it would be love, but other days I don't give a fuck about that shit. And then other days it would be cosmic mandate because that's really like my everyday life. Sometimes I feel as though I think the root of my anxiety comes from when I feel out of control of my situation. I have to stay grounded and stuff like that. And through that, I'll write. So, it's stuff like that,
I wasn't freestyling. I was just saying, because I'm a poetry DJ. Stop it, please.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
The Rock is definitely in the building.
Right.
The Rock. This is a whole J.
The Rock? The Rock.
The Rock. It has nothing to do with this.
Yes,
song,
it does.
period.
Doesn't Hove?
Oh man.
Alright.
Rock,
Anyway,
right?
so my favorite topic to listen to. Can you stop? I don't know. My favorite topic to listen to with poetry is probably family as well. Because my favorite poem is by Will Gibson's Stories, and I play that on here like every day, every week.
You do. But I also that's hard. Cause I like love poems. I like companionship poems a lot. I like when like things connect. When people connect stories through other people, I like that a lot. And then you can connect it to yourself. I think it's real.
Yeah, that's like I mean, that's like the basis of poetry anyway. Like, you have to be able to push your story, like stretch your story out to other people, and then like bring that back
to be relatable. You're right.
Yeah,
you're right. But I'm saying,
I mean, maybe that's just with slam, because if you at an open mic, you like, you don't gotta care what niggas say. You ain't winning nothing. They don't give you nothing. Fuck your feelings. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
If it reach you,
if it's written,
if
it's a written poem, I'm not sure what my favorite topic would be. I think it might be.
That's interesting. You separate the two.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Because one is a performance art, while the other is just like you wanna feel it while you're reading it. That's really good. That's a really good point. I don't know what kind of poetry I like. I don't know. I like
written
Emily
versions.
Dickinson.
For written versions, then it will probably be race for me, because sometimes people change it in such an intricate way. Like as you read towards the end, it hits you harder and harder and harder. Like
I like Maya Angelou. I Know Why the Cage Bird Sings though. So I guess I don't know. When I was younger, family was a big thing. I used to write about family in my English class all the time. So I guess with things like that, I would feel like it trapped, and like I would only be in my room and like just like plaster stuff on my wall and like play really loud music and stuff. So I don't know. It would just be the cry of the rebel. So whatever related that would just be what I liked. But now I don't really read poetry.
What about
as
you,
much
Carl?
as I watch it.
My bad.
So I don't know.
You about to get cut off.
I know. Fuck me. Go ahead, Carlos.
What about you?
I get cut off all the time.
Alright, yo.
Boy, cause
I don't do that to y'all.
You picture volume 1,
Never mind,
7.
never mind.
It's like, nah, I'm kidding.
Yeah, anything philosophical for real.
Fuck with
anything
it.
that kind of just throws any kind of philosophy in it.
Philosoph.
Philosoph.
That
you
philosoph.
Philosoph.
You philosoph. Papa philosoph.
Girl, don't die.
It happened again. Did I snort last week?
Hey, did you know water tastes better if the word purified is in the name and it's in a bottle?
We about to listen to one more
Said
poem
what?
before our guest Nakia come through. All right. Well, so this is SoapBOX Poetry Radio. Speak outside the box.
Peace.
If I could find the spot where truth echoes, I would stand there and whisper memories of my children's future. I would let their future dwell in my past so that I might live a brighter now. Now is the essence of my domain, and it contains all that was and will be. And I am as I was and will be, because I am and always will be that nigger. I am that nigger. I am that nigger. I am that timeless nigger that swings on pendulums like vines through minds of booby-trapped minds that are enslaved by time. I am the life that supersedes lifetimes. I am. It was me with serpentine hair and a timeless stare that with immortal glare turned mortal fear into stone time capsules. They still exist as the walking dead, as I do, the original sufferhead, symbol of life and matriarchy, severed head, Medusa. I am. I am that nigger. I am that nigger. I am that nigger. I am a Negro, yes, Negro. Negro from necro, meaning death. I overcame it, so they named me after it. And I be spitting at death from behind and putting kick me signs on its back, because I am not the son of Shaklack Clack. I am before that. I am before. I am before. Before death is eternity. After death is eternity. There is no death. There's only eternity. And I be riding on the wings of eternity like, yeah, clack, clack. But my flight doesn't go undisturbed, because time makes dreams defer. And all of my time fears are turning my days into daymares. And I live daymares, reliving nightmares that once haunted my past. Clack, clack, time is beating my ass. And I be having dreams of chocolate-covered watermelons filled with fried chickens like piñatas, with little pickaninny sons and daughters standing up under them with big sticks and aluminum foil, hitting them trying to catch pieces of fallen fried chicken wings. And Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben are standing in the corners with rifles pointed at the heads of the little children. Don't shoot the children, I shout. Don't shoot the children, but they say it's too late. They've already been infected by time, but this shit is before my time. I need more time. I need more time. But it's too late. They start shooting at the children and killing them 1 by 1, 2 by 2, 3 by 3, 4 by 4, 5 by 5, 6 by 6. But My spirit is growing 7 by 7, faster than the speed of light, because light only penetrates the darkness that's already there, and I'm already there. I'm here at the end of the road, which is the beginning of the road beyond time, but where my niggas at?
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit, don't tell me my niggas got lost in time. My niggas are dying before their time. My niggas are serving unjust time. My niggas are dying because of time. If I could find the spot.
I have spent my weekends having daddy-daughter dates in the emergency room. The good news is it groomed me with the rules to really show a guy a good time like one. I had to forget the regiment my father forced me to remember when attempting to date a new guy, because this will be the most selfless date of a lifetime too. I had to grab my keys. There will be no handsome honey hanging out the side of a drop-top Corvette or waiting at my front door 3. I had to bring a little pocket change, because hospital parking is about as expensive as the Broadway show we would have liked to go to in vending machine snacks, or about the going rate of the stadium nacho plate we would have shared at the Orioles game, so I'm never ashamed to ball out, or to kick that plexiglass at the first chance that those chips won't fall out for. I wear my visitor wristband like a corsage, like a princess at her prom, and then I file it in the back of my mind because I know he probably won't make it to escort me to my I do down wedding aisles. 5, I'm sure to laugh at every bad joke, especially the morbid ones, like when he tells me it's his hope and his prayer to have a disease so rare that his name will acclaim fame printed in medical textbooks, and yes, that would mean that I would be fatherless, but I still laugh at the thought of how cool it really is. I throw my head back and cackle loud, not paying attention to the dying patient, patiently waiting to meet his maker on the other side of the curtain. I laugh like I'm trying to rip hernias into my abdomen, because who knows, it might just lift him from his depression, even if it's just for a moment. 6, I had to learn to listen to the nurse's casket chit-chatter who talk about death as if my father isn't the one who's dying. Speak until the flat line of my worry face defibrillates into a smile. 7, I place my lips against his brow to balance out the scar to stitch labyrinth along his epidermis. 8, I extend love like blood transfusions, IVing memories into his frail arms with hugs. 9, I had to learn to be consistent, because those beeping machines are a constant reminder that his pressure is too low, hot, too weak, that he's slowly becoming useless like a sentence that's incomplete. So I come with the intent to give him a reason to keep on living. 10, I demand this man give me a second date, even though I knew it was a promise he would never keep.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Angeline.
Hello.
How you doing?
Greetings.
I'm sorry. I always get excited when I'm around Fire, because Fire gives the best hugs ever.
Yeah.
And it's like this is such a rare moment that I'm talking to her without a hug.
Ooh.
Oh, wow. True good things. You got to give the energy all the time.
How was Afropunk?
Oh, well, let's go. We're going to get in that in like a couple of questions in. So,
Okay.
Fire, I wanted to ask you, how did you start doing poetry?
How did I start
You're not
doing
going to
poetry?
Jeez.
Oh, wow. That's like taking it way back.
Mm.
I started poetry, actually, when I was doing poetry. I didn't know that it was poetry. I started when I was in a group home, actually, and I had been there. I was in a group home in foster care for most of my life, actually, since I was 13. And I was in a group home, and that's where I started to do a lot of writing, because I was hearing a lot of stories from women that were there, like whether it was like, mothers that were neglecting them, or fathers who had raped them, or people who sold drugs or fought, and just kind of like these stories that I was constantly hearing, and I needed somewhere to process it. So I would just write, and I would just start to use different devices and things. Like, I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but through that, like, I would read it to some of the girls. Like, we would, after midnight, when all of the staff would like be downstairs, and we weren't even supposed to be up, but like we would go to each other's rooms, and like I would like read poetry to them, and like we would just talk about our feelings and like stuff that we really couldn't talk about with the counselors that were on site there. And so it was through that experience that I kind of started to process my own pain, and I started poetry with that in mind. And when I returned home to my house in Owens Mills with my mother, when I was 18, I ended up going to get my nose pierced at like somewhere like over for Tapsico. And when I went to go get my nose pierced, I actually when I went to go get my nose pierced, I saw a flyer for a poetry slam. So I went to the poetry slam. I was like, oh, I got a poem, like whatever, it's like not that deep. And so I went there, and that's where I met the Baltimore Citywide Youth Poetry Team, and what later became Do More Baltimore. But that experience was how I first got started doing the work that I've been doing. So it started from trauma, but it grew into a level of agency and power that I have now with my voice. So my voice was real shaky in the beginning.
Wow.
But now it's something different.
That's powerful. It sounds like you grew in a very safe space. Would you say you surround yourself with people like that now, who you'd share like your feeling, like you said, with your
my poems?
Yes.
My poetry, like people I would share with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely say that I have people I share my poetry with, and I also have places that I go outside of open mics where I share my poetry. For instance, just before this interview, I'm at my friend's house actually, and it was his father and his one of his good friends here. And I said, hey, y'all want to hear a poem about black men? He was like, sure. And I was like, okay, cool. So I read a poem, and we was in the kitchen. But they was like, wow, you wrote that? And they just felt it. You know what I mean? I read a poem on Friday night with my friends. They were all sitting around drinking. One guy was like, black men hanging around each other, they kind of get a little macho with each other for no reason. And he was just like, I keep the strap on me. And that's just kind of like the vibe in the room. And I'm like, yo, y'all, if I can, I want to read this poem for y'all. And he's like, sure, whatever. So they turned down the music, kept the blunt rolling though. And I read the poem, and one guy just like jumped up, and he was like, yo, what she just said, like, yo, we really gotta live, yo, we gotta live, like black men gotta live, yo. And that was just like the moment, right? It wasn't at an open mic. It really wasn't at like no big theater. It was like a really tender moment in someone's house while they were playing video games and smoking. You know what I mean? But it's like, this is like, for me, I kind of have those spaces that are, traditional spaces of art where art is practiced, but also different spaces where art can have impact. So, yeah, I share it wherever I can. I'm not opposed. Doing on the subway, in somebody's grandmama's kitchen. I did a perm poem while somebody was getting a perm in the salon.
That's great.
That's so interesting.
Like, it was just.
Was it a poem
Head
like
burning, but I'm still doing the poem.
That's funny.
Who do you feel your poetry impacts the most, or who do you reach out to the most?
Black people. That's the people I reach out to the most. But most importantly, like, black people, which equals me. Like, kind of always reaching deeper inside myself to tell myself the truth. So most of the time when I write, I'm saying something to myself. It's a either it's a reminder of something I already know, or I'm trying to bring up what I know is true, but I will never say out loud.
Mm.
And so, for me, my audience is really myself in like trying to deal with the things I'm going through, and then in turn using that as a way, as a catalyst for Black people as a collective to take power from the things that I'm saying in the work that I've been doing. So as I go forward in like my education, like I started off like really getting into shit. I read like Malachi's New York, and then I started, reading Francis Cress Welsing and Malcolm X, Asada Shakur.
Are these
Omar
some of your
Akbar. I also
influences?
read- Huh?
Are these some of
These
your
are some-
influences?
Say it one more time.
Oh, are these some of your influences?
These are people, yeah, my canon is definitely reflected in my experiences, like in Baltimore.
Mm.
And then, like, but also, like, through the literature that I've read, because through that, like, I've learned about Black people, I've learned about myself, and my poems are just, like, they're just rallying calls, you know what I mean? But the real work is, the other work is, like, reading the texts that give you a fundamental understanding of white supremacy and also of Black people, and through that, like the art is informed by that, and the art. And my hope is that my art gets people back to the books, and then back to themselves, and then back to the community, and then back to building with each other. But the art should just inspire you, like it's like a little taste, you know what I mean? It's like a little moment in time to get you to feel it.
That's
like
that's
amazing. That's how I got into stuff. I read I got into so much like history, like just listening to Rakim. I'm like, what did he just talk about? Like, what is that? What is triple darkness? What are these? Like, what are these things he's talking about? Like, I didn't know. And what is
Oh, that's
COINTELPRO?
eerie. Triple darkness. So
what
do you
is
feel like
COINTEL?
the way that you
Go ahead.
interpret things are different?
The way I interpret them? What do you mean?
Interpret like when you hear different stories and when you hear different similes and metaphors. Now, do you try and dig deeper into what they could mean or what they do mean behind that meaning?
Yeah, I definitely always from the very beginning always did that.
Mm-hmm.
I read poetry like I would read like a textbook. You know what I mean? If there's some things that I don't know, I'll look it up. Especially when you're reading Amiri Baraka.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if there's some poets who intentionally include, like, they're not using illusions. They're like, no, this is who it is. Like J. Edgar Hoover. Like, that's who it is. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And so that, in doing, when I read those type of things, I spend a lot of time, researching what I read and trying to read for understanding, like read for comprehension. Ask questions to myself.
Yeah, I think a lot of people lack that, asking themselves questions about what they're reading, about what they're seeing and experiencing.
Mhm. That's the wisdom of a child, I think.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Adults, you get older, you get egotistical, start feeling yourself. You got like longer legs and you got a bigger brain or whatever. And then you
I always say we
think
just
that
children
you-
with expansion packs.
Yeah, children, they know there's wisdom in knowing how to ask questions and when to ask questions. You go a longer way doing that. Also, you can expose someone's ignorance quicker with questions than just making statements.
Right.
If someone's saying some dumb
definitely
shit
agree.
like all lives matter, just hit them with a question. Like,
What you mean, son?
do all lives matter?
Do all lives matter?
Do it? Where, son? Where? For why?
You know what I mean? Just different things. Like, you can just, questions are fundamentally, like, I think, how we can seek to, like, understand our knowledge and also our ignorance, too.
Okay. So, what do you recommend for a poet that's just starting out or trying to find themselves?
For a poet that's starting out and trying to find themselves.
Well, in this art form. And
I would say, for them to write the poem that they're most afraid of, say the things that they think other people don't want to hear. For instance, I wrote a poem called God-Fearing Woman, which was about my feeling like, I had started having sex too early, and that I had too many sexual partners, and I felt like my body was just disgusting, and like I felt this shame of sex, and I felt like these things I was feeling about myself. Like I wanted to just get out of my own body. I didn't want to be in it. These type of feelings I would have. And that poem I wrote, and then I performed it, and that was one of the poems that people were like, "Yo, for real, like that's you." And like, so if you're trying to find, if it depends on what you're using poetry for, you know what I mean. But the purpose is like you should be kind of philosopher, kind of political, also like you're trying to get people to feel your story as well. So over time you'll realize like your personal story is the bigger story as well. So I would say if you're trying to find who you are, just keep writing to the scared parts of yourself, and eventually you'll find your power because it's already there.
Right.
I would say get out, perform, get into a community of people who are doing work that you do. Stay close to people that you respect, that are advanced in the field, who not imitators, not people who are just doing the same shit. Like innovators. Stay close to innovators, people who are challenging the form. And get your work out there. Submit it to journals, submit it to papers, get your voice heard, and spend a lot of time reading. Read a lot, and until read a lot, and from there you'll find yourself too. I found myself a lot through books. So
I remember watching you. Your LTAB videos when I was younger. Well, that was like 2 years ago. Let me stop. Like what? So yeah, it's like it's great seeing, like, also watching how you've changed. Like it's, and then also adding it to my growth as well. It's been a great experience. It's like, it's so weird being because when did you start? You started doing Do More when you found the BCYPT.
Right. I was like I don't know how old I was. I think it was maybe like 17, 18.
Right.
That time graduating from high school.
So how would you describe the poet you were in Do More to the writer you are now? Like, how would you describe the difference?
I guess when I was in Do More, I had a lot of shit to say, like, about the shit that I had been through. You know what I mean? Here I am, like, been through group homes, foster care, detention centers, like crazy shit my whole life. And I'm 18. Someone tells me I can be a writer, and I believe them. And I start to write the things that I've experienced. And I'm like, yo, this shit is, I'm realizing not everybody else has had these experiences. And so I'm like obsessed with my own story. I'm like obsessed with like, who am I? Who did I become? Who was I before this moment? What are the things that I experienced? Other people think like me? I'm like inquisitive about my story. So I think in that space, I was like doing a lot of self-searching, a lot of like, this is a poem about my mom, this is a poem about my dad, this is a poem about that one time at band camp, this is a poem about that one time at the chicken spot, like this is that poem. You know what I mean? It's like, and from there, I kept developing and trying new styles and never like trying to say like, I don't want to say the same. Like, I don't want to say the same shit, and I don't want to say it the same way. So like, people will like, I might hit it with my poems might sound like a song, or they might sound like a monologue, or they might sound like your mama yelling at you. Like, you really don't know what kind of poem it's gonna be, and that's what I want to do. You know what I mean? So through that period, I kind of, now the writer I am is like, I have my stories, I understood them, and I kind of now give them more political context because I've read a lot. I spent a lot of time reading and like understanding the world that I was in. Where now I use like my personal story only as a catalyst to talk about the other issues that are existing. It's like my story in itself is powerful, and I also give the context to it more now. Where before I was like super like it's me. It's like I was doing selfie poems, and now I'm like doing ussies.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean?
That's a great way to describe it.
Ussies.
I'm gonna start saying that. But I'm sorry, copyright. I could copyright. So what are your favorite poetic devices?
My favorite poetic devices? Oh my God, my favorite poetic device is imagery.
I can tell.
Really, really love imagery. I love describing shit. Like, I will give something 3 different colors, all the shapes that it has. I love how the world looks.
That's tight.
And I love describing that to people. And so when people can see it, it's visceral. You know what I mean? Like, even if you don't truly understand it, it's just like when you kind of describe, like when I was in Cuba, and I remember seeing like this, when I was in like it was like a pretty poor neighborhood in Cuba, and I was there this past summer, and there was just like old black woman like sitting on the side like of the street with like a bucket, and she was very dark. She was dark skinned, and she had like she had these big blue eyes and blonde hair that naturally grew blonde, and she was like kind of medium built and had like a little short pink skirt on and like a white pink top. And my friend went over to her, and she gave him a kiss like on the cheek, and was like, "Hey, how you doing, Lena?" And it was so cute. And then she had these little sweets in her bucket, and it was like this little quick transaction of like he gave her a peso, and she gave him a sweet, and it was just like she was just so gorgeous and beautiful. And I don't know why that woman stays in my mind, but like I ended up later at some point like writing like a little poem about this woman who was like selling sweets outside of her house. It had a black woman with blue eyes and blonde hair, and I was like, how did that happen, Jesus? But okay. It happened, you know what I mean? But
I can see her now too.
Things are so sweet.
She's present. And so my thing is imagery is a way to bring people alive. The device that I wish I could use more is onomatopoeia, but like
true.
I'd be so weird. I'd be like boom, pop. I'd be like, what am I supposed to say?
I once heard this poem. I once heard this poem with Anapia. She mingled it well, but it's better than just screaming and like.
Gary Baraka is the king of that. Like I'd be like, where did he get those sounds from?
I really want to practice that.
Bammo,
bammo, whammo. Wow, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow.
You'd be like cloud, and I'd be like, that makes so much sense.
I really want to try that.
I feel like I never even thought of saying cloud. Like,
right. What? I want to try that. That's something I want to try and like try and explore different devices that I've never tried before, and like I want like I'll do a chapbook of like just using one device per poem. Like I feel like that would be interesting, but not just not just onomatopoeia. Maybe maybe
no,
just gonna be like, huh, who that? Well, that's not really onomatopoeia. But anyway, can you tell us about your slam journey?
My slam journey?
Yeah, like is slam like a journey? Slam is a journey. Slam is like a whole other world.
Slam journey? Yeah, I came out of the journey, but it's a journey.
Yeah. To the beginning.
It's a journey because
why you left.
First did it, you know what I'm saying? I was very invested in my story. Like I was like, yo, this shit is visceral to me. It's not a game. Fuck y'all points. This is my life.
Right.
That's kind of how I was like. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck about the points. I'm trying to, like, tell my story. And I believed in that. Like, it wasn't a joke. But then through the experience, you start to see sometimes the limitations that you can have with slam, right? Because you do have limitations, restriction. You know what I mean? The poem's 3 minutes. You have to, there's a certain flow, a certain way that the poem is written so that it can ascend. It's like choreography. You know what I mean? It has a structure to it informally. So like when you first come in, you don't know those structures, you don't know the rules of the game, and you start to realize like, oh yeah, certain things get more points. Some people say they really don't care about points, but they'd be like talking shit about poets after the fact. So you must care about points. So it was like this really strange like competition that wasn't trying to act like it was it was like a competition that was like parading as a family reunion, but niggas still be hating on the low. It's like your uncle. That's like it's like we heard you talking about everybody. Like you was like literally in the kitchen. Like we heard you. And so it's like through that, like I kind of started to see the limitations it was starting to have on me as a poet, about the styles I wouldn't do, or like, you know, maybe not being slammy enough to go on stage for this particular round. Or,
okay.
You know
I
what I
see.
mean? Like, but the people who we look up to as like the pioneers of art, we're not slammy. You know what I mean? Like, would Amiri Baraka get a 10 in a slam? Like, I don't know. Would June Jordan? Who knows? Like, you know what I mean?
Mary Baraka would just get a 10 in the slam just because he was there.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? So these things, you know, it's just like slam has its own, its avenue. It's like a way for you to get your voice heard. It's also a way for you to get exposure and things like that. But I stepped away from slam, and I had to make a conscious decision to do that because at some point my entire social circle was made up of people who were into slam. So it was like the conversations at dinner were like, who got the 7.9 and who got the 8.2, and like that was fucked up that yo got the 9 and like I should have got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That type of thing. It's like the whole time though, like black people dying, I need to raise my credit score, and I don't really want to talk about it.
So it like slam, I can understand that slam not only being restricted in itself, but it's also restrictive outside of it as well. It's like,
yeah, because people don't know what you're talking about. And like,
right.
most people don't even know what slam is. That's not a bad thing, but it's
right.
Say like as a for me, I'm a writer. You know what I mean? I write poems. I write memoir. I write short stories. I write articles. I write sci-fi. Like, who's gonna do it? Like, I can't do that in slam. So it's like a particular genre in itself. You know what I mean? Like, spoken word poems often are not published as much, right? It can be a cultural shift, like that may happen, but oftentimes poems that you're reading are going to be different than the poems that you might speak out loud, because the poems you speak might have a different rhythm to them, because the human language is different when you're speaking. Like, no one really no one speaks how they write, and if they do, they probably sound like they came from the Harlem Renaissance. Like, you know what I mean? Like, who really like, I read books. I don't see no one in the world talking how they write books, because it's a different level of thought. It's a different level of complexity when you're writing something compared to when you're speaking it. And so for me, I stepped out because I wanted to continue to do other forms of writing, and I kept getting labeled as like just a slam poet. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I didn't want to do that. And I still do poems. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we know
like,
you out here.
I be poems.
Good
I be
job,
poeming.
Step outside
Like,
the box.
definitely be out here.
Speak outside the box.
Hey, that's what that is our hashtag. Speak outside the box. Who said you got to be restricted to slam?
Just try to, you know what I'm saying? You're a writer. Just, you're creative. Keep creating.
Right.
You know, who says maybe they'll recreate slam and it'll be some new shit. Like, it may not even be called slam. It might be a different shit. Like, you just, I don't know, people get on spaceships and they do poems, and whoever doesn't fall off the spaceship wins. I don't know. Like, you never know what could happen in the future.
So, what other avenues do you apply your writing to? I know you I know you got Daughters of the Diaspora. Can you tell us how that started?
How I got started with Daughters of the Diaspora, and so yeah, I have a few avenues. I just publish wherever I can. Daughters of the Diaspora, I started with 3 women this past summer because we were just talking about the diaspora, and like, you know, my close friends from the Dominican Republic. I know a lot of people from different countries within Africa, from Mali, Senegal, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, so forth. Some people from South America, Brazil. And so I think just the awareness of like black people as a global struggle, black women as a global struggle, like, it's real everywhere you go where you're black. That type of sentiment some people don't see. that. And so we started to talk about, wanting to have a space for Black women within the African diaspora to talk about and express their stories with each other. So it's a new initiative. I've never done something like that before, and I have no idea where it's going to go, but I definitely think it'll be a great catalyst and way to continue to learn how to build your own brand, how to work on a team, just the different factors that go into media and Black-owned media. So I have, I go to various websites and publish various places in the city to perform. And, I just keep finding new avenues for what I do. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a never-ending cycle of, like, having new areas where you can grow. So for me, I give thanks all the time that I have the ability in the spirit and the creativity to do what the Most High has blessed me with, and that's blessed me. The Most High has blessed me with voice, and that's one of the most powerful things that like any human being can have. That's what starts wars and what starts peace, and that's what like starts arguments, and like that's what brings harmony. So for me, the voice is like so valuable. And being a poet, it works in my like everyday life, you know what I mean? When I'm just being super poetic with people, and they don't even know what to say back. I'm just like, yeah, nigga, it's poetic. You can't even say shit. Shut up.
Finesse.
Finesse you. You like, damn, that was real deep. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Just all I did was use a simile, and it don't even matter. It's just
people just
don't even know.
They just, once you turn poet, it's like everybody thinks everything you say is deep.
Poetry makes you especially spoken word. Like you're oratate. You learn to oratate. So like I started off, the first like thing I did that was performance was an oratory contest. I wrote an essay for WJZ's oratory contest when I was in high school at Randallstown High School, and I got selected as a semifinalist. I had to memorize like 3 pages of essay, and then I went and I performed it, and I was like considerably spoken word, but it was like different. It wasn't the same, but it was like the idea of like you're an orator. You can use the skills you taken from poetry, and you should use them in the community to speak up when shit is not okay. Like go to your community meetings, and because you did a spoken word poem in front of 50 people, you probably should feel more comfortable standing up in front at the community meeting and be like, y'all tripping.
I feel like that is something that's lacking in a lot of poets. It's like we talk about it. Some of y'all talk about it, but y'all don't be, at the ground floor meetings, like what we gonna do about it. Now we talked about it. Now that's why it's like when I say it's like what I want to do with my poetry is bring up more than the conversation. And
the conversation. The conversation is important, like the discourse. If there's a debate, to have discourse, and from that you can create action. Art is supposed to influence, art is supposed to create discourse. It's supposed to make people be like, I don't know if I agree with that, or I don't, you know what I'm saying? But really, in slam and in sometimes some spaces, that you can find people really want to agree with people. They don't really want to not agree. So they want people to reinform what they already believe, which really doesn't help people to evolve. So it's good that if a poet does a poem and it makes everyone uncomfortable and people want to talk about it, why don't we do that? That's good. You know what I mean? That's why, like, this Saturday, small plug, this Saturday at my house, 433 Ilchester Avenue, at 7:30 this Saturday, I'm doing the Art of Conversation, which is specifically about like art and discourse. So the idea is that you do a poem and we discuss the content of your work, not just not critiquing it to see like how well you use your metaphors or how well you said clack. Like it's deeper than that. So for me, the art stuff should influence your like actions in real life. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't feel comfortable talking about some shit if I'm not even doing it in real life. Actually, I will abstain from possibly doing certain poems if I'm not like not willing to do the work, you know what I mean? Like, do the work for real.
Right.
Like, not for play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's something that people struggle with, and you keep finding your way. Like, you keep figuring out how you want to be active in your community. And you could use poetry as a way. You know what I mean? You could do free when people need entertainment, or some people need somebody to do the rallying call. That's you. That's your position. You know what I mean? Maybe you have other skills too. You got to build on them. And then you can be the poet that does the rallying call, but also the organizer. You could be the person, whatever. You know what I mean? You have different roles in the community. But poetry is just one of them.
Word. Hey, Nakia, how was Afropunk?
How was Afropunk?
When we gonna get tickets, yo? Say no. Let me stop.
Afropunk was interesting. I thought that it was my first time going to Afropunk, and I definitely enjoyed myself. I definitely loved the what was there, like just the beautiful people and the music, and being in Brooklyn, hot summer, like it was dope. I think at the same time, I saw a lot of like behavior that I thought was like real weird, like people dressed as like, I saw a guy like dressed as like the monkey that like they used to like use to like and like mock black people. So I saw a lot of behavior that was like problematic, and so it made me start to think like, I don't know if Afropunk is for aesthetic. You know what I mean? It's for people who just like to see black people. You know what I mean? They like the idea of black people around them. And that's cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a black person a day, like takes the white person away. Like, it's great. Like I get joy from that in some ways. You know what I mean? But I felt that energy very present. Like the people who wanted to come and see the women dressed up, like, yes, girl. Just like they needed. It made me almost think about how ego-starved black people are, actually. Made me think about how much we are not told that we're not, how much we told them we're not shit. So much so that people will come to a whole festival just to be around black people. Even if they don't agree with the things that they're doing or that they're saying or whatever. It don't matter. Like, I didn't agree with a lot of stuff that people were doing. But it was like the idea of people being black and being around them was good. So I had critiques. I had things I thought were really cool. I realized, like, I'm super not a festival person. Like, I was just like, oh my God, if someone else steps on me, like, I'm about to go all the way to Baltimore in this bitch. Like, I'm just, like, not the festival. Like, I'm like, I can go to, like, the cookout with the family. Maybe the family reunion if it's, like, a mid-size joint.
Do you feel like...
But the festival, no.
Yeah.
Too many people.
Do you feel like the blackness in when you experienced the culture in Cuba and the blackness in Cuba, did you feel like it was more authentic?
When I experienced blackness in Cuba, see, I don't know if I experienced blackness. I tried to experience black people and see them as more of who they are and like their identity, which is going to be different from black people in the States. And look at not just like, oh, they're black, but like black to me, and like I kind of deal with Stephen Biko's idea of black consciousness, that blackness is not just your skin color, but blackness is also a mental attitude. You know what I mean? It's also how you think. So what he would propose, Stephen Biko, would say that some people are non-white. Like, they got weave, they really want to be in white institutions, and unfortunately their skin color makes it impossible for them to be able to, you know, get involved with the white society. Now, they might use bleaching cream try to make it work, but, you know what I mean, melanin is really difficult to get rid of. So those people maybe will be called non-white, as Biko would suggest. And that people who are black are people who are black by choice, and not just like I'm black because I got the skin, but like I'm black by mind. I'm black, like I put black people first. Like, I see black people as beautiful. Like, I'm going to do shit in our community that checks and holds black people accountable for their behavior. You know what I mean? So for me, when I was in Cuba, I was looking for like black people, not non-white people. I was looking for like black people who were like aware of the issues that happen in their country as well as like around the world. And like I found them on the second night. And so in Cuba, I experienced race. Like some people in Cuba don't even think that racism exists in Cuba. And that's just because they're probably light-skinned and they don't experience the same level of discrimination. Now, if you're like brown skin and darker, then you will experience it because you'll realize like you're left out of the tourism industry or the transportation industry, which is where people make their most money, because that's where the tourists go and they spend the kook, which is they have two currencies, and kook is like the better one because it's like what the tourists use, and it translates into more pesos, right? So it's like in Cuba, I had people straight up tell me like, "No, racism don't exist here. You tripping?" And I had black people like, "No, they lying. This shit exists." And it's like this. They have a strong national identity because of the revolution. So people do identify with being Cuban, even though like for me, like I didn't feel American. I struggle with American identity, right? Mm-hmm. And I think everybody in the diaspora struggles with the identity of where they are now, no matter where you at. So it's just kind of,
right.
Cuba was.
Do you feel like being in Cuba has changed your writing style in any way?
I think being in Cuba opened me up to like wanting to speak more languages and wanting to write in more languages, and so it definitely made me put more Spanish into my work. Like I might be writing a poem and be like, she was a mujer negra, like she was a black woman. It's just like I might kind of go in between different languages, and Cuba influenced that desire in me to like see language as something that's like kind of like water, like it's just kind of like it flows wherever. Like I can say something in different ways. It definitely influenced that part of me. And yeah, I miss Cuba and all of the things that I experienced there. It's a beautiful place. Beautiful place. Beautiful people.
I want to travel so bad. I think that's like the most important thing for any artist, to at least travel. Like not only out of your comfort zone, but out of the place that you are in.
Yes.
It's like you can't. It's just like when you have to read books. You have to read books. You have to travel. You have to meet people. You have to experience different stories in different ways throughout life in cities and all that stuff. So yeah.
Right. True.
You
do. Traveling is definitely, I would say, I'm saying like as black folk traveling, we're not white folk. Like white folk tend to travel with the idea of being nomads. Like they're just going to experience some shit and they passing through. They don't necessarily really want to have an impact. If they do, it's cool. But they really try and go to the restaurants, hit the bars, have sex, do that, right? That's their idea of like travel. But to me, it's a very European concept. Black folk have historically traveled, but most of the time we migrate. We go somewhere, we settle, we make an impact. Mm-hmm. And so, for me, I spend
ready for the
time thinking about, if I'm going to travel, what am I bringing to the place that I'm going at?
Right.
And what's the purpose? What is my purpose to be there? Not to just romanticize and be somewhere just to do it, but to really be invested in the community that I'm going to be serving. And if you ain't serving Baltimore, then like, why you going all the way, like, to Brazil? You know what I mean? Serve Baltimore.
It's like, and make sure you're not in no gentrified areas either, because then you're not experiencing nothing. Like that is not the city.
Read a book and travel. For real, though. If you take your mind that far. Like, you know what I mean? Take your mind and use that to travel. You can travel really far with that. That sounds, like, really weird, but, like, it is true. Like, you don't have to travel the world to realize that white supremacy exists everywhere.
Right.
You don't have to go to, like, Thailand and be like, yo, why it's crazy they don't got no black people, and why do you use... Like, it's like you didn't have to go all the way there to realize that, for real. Mm-hmm. That was like a waste of a plane ticket. Like, you know what I mean? Some stuff you can learn. I went to Cuba. Some stuff I learned before I even went there. And I already, like, it's different to feel things with your hands. You know what I mean? It definitely gives you a experience. But I would just say it's important to focus on like what you have in front of your eyes right now, and travel through that. Travel through the like the avenues of Baltimore City. Like, have you traveled that? And if you haven't traveled that, then like you got a lot of sightseeing to do.
I could tell you're really into like well, of course you're a journalist, but I could tell you're really into like sociology and stuff like that. So
sociology, yeah.
do you think you'd ever go as far as to like take your talents to different avenues other than the Baltimore Sun?
Other than the Baltimore, you mean like the city? I write currently for the city paper, not Baltimore Sun.
Yes.
So, like, taking my talents outside of them? Yeah, I mean, of course. That's the whole point. Right?
Where do you think?
Huh?
Where do you think so far? Do you have any ideas?
I don't know. I mean, the bigger vision is to start my own media company.
Word.
Like, you know what I mean? That's the bigger vision. Anything else is just like a little stepping stone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I can see you on Vice.
You know what I mean? It's a part of the hopscotch right now.
Word.
But eventually I'm trying to build my own playground.
That's pretty dope.
But, so, yeah, I see myself in various avenues. Maybe one day I'll be a physicist, or maybe I already am. I don't know. But, yeah, I see myself definitely at the end of the day being a business owner within the field of media. Because I enjoy storytelling. I think it's very powerful. But, you know what I'm saying? The Most High may call me to something very different than that. Maybe I don't even know. I'm humble enough to know that, like, I don't know. You know what I mean? So
that's like the best thing for any artist is not to know everything.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can't say, like,
I treat you like that,
kind of got an idea. You know what I mean? I kind of think I know. Like, but at the end of the day, like, my purpose has always been to write, use my voice and my personality, who I am, and I've used that as the Most High has called me to do, and to continue to build that is a part of, you know, the collective journey. So I'm just, you know what I mean, moving with the water.
Nakia, you the best. I mean, Fire Angela,
I'm the best.
I mean, I treat you like you know
Nakia,
everything. I treat you like you know everything, because it's like the reason why I feel like we need mentors in our city is we really do. We just need mentors in our city, because we can't because me and you had a conversation before, and it was like a whole collective conversation. Of course, I'm about to bring up the whole mediocrity in the Baltimore scene. So it's like we need our mentors, and, you know, mentors like you to tell us where to go and how to get there. But we also need to make we have to take that responsibility to make our own choices while we're doing
Yeah,
that.
you gotta, one thing I would say is be wise with who you choose as your elders, right? Because, like, we don't live in a society necessarily where you live in, like, a small town, and then whoever is the doctor in the neighborhood, or whoever is the elder that people go to seek counsel from, that's who you know, who's going to check you, who's going to hold you accountable, who's the mediator, right? This is an era where you choose your own elder. You go out and say, this is the person I want to get my knowledge from, right? And that's powerful, but you can also be easily misguided because you don't know no better.
Right.
So you got to know who your elders are.
Yeah.
And look like deeper into the things that people are teaching you and telling you. You know what I mean? I reaching a place and getting to a place where, like, I'm learning who my elders are, and who some people just older. They're not really your elders, though. There's a difference. Like, not everybody who's older is an elder. Some motherfuckers just old and, like, Their body
That's
grew
real.
like that.
That's a real
Like,
thing. That is
some
a
niggas,
real thing.
their bodies grew, and that was it. That was their mind didn't grow though.
That's beautiful. Yours and but I still look up to you because I have no choice. Because I have no choice. I mean, I'm 4'11".
Yeah, you can. I mean, there's something that if you something that you can learn. If your spirit says it, then go. You know what I mean? If your spirit says it, then go. But you know what I mean? That's a part of the journey. You know what I mean? Like who I'm learning from, you'll learn from, because I'm gonna teach that. You know what I mean? And you keep growing. You keep growing your base in your community of elders. And yeah, I would just say, don't take exactly what's in front of you, but try to be wise.
Right.
Try to be wise. Mm-hmm.
Well, so it's about that time. Thank you for being
Okay.
with us. Do you have your poem that you want to share with us now?
A poem?
Yeah, a poem.
Poem.
You got a poem?
Sure, I can read a poem.
Yes.
Okay. Tonight, the police killed a black man while I was holding one. I saw the blood when he yawned in the morning. To love a black man in America is to be between cuddling and a casualty. When I touch him and I feeling his energy or a eulogy, my phone rings. TV headlines stretch into a funeral home. It is Friday night and we are together, eyes locked and lips asking for each other. His mother hugs me like I will be his wife. His father, he tells me secrets of him. He is our secret society. We met on Charles Street, red lights crying in a club, tattooed with dance. It was a blizzard the day he walked to be with me. His body saturated in winter. When our warm bodies touched, we changed seasons. Love, remember. The night we walked home from dinner holding hands. I felt your finger twitch when the police car drove past. I am not afraid of losing you to another woman. I am afraid of losing you to a traffic stop. How come I cannot love you out of police brutality, kiss you away from questions on city corners? I hold you like you are living and dying. You are America crumbling in my hands. I cannot hug you away from being a hashtag. Black man, my love, let's philosophize. Let's philosophize about the stars, Dogon and Baltimore on loose Saturday nights. Let's wake on Sunday, do yoga and pray to Ra. Let's look into each other's eyes until we become water, then drink from the ocean we become. I need to remember how alive we are, so breathe next to me. Did you see the video? Can you come over? Could you imagine losing me today? If the news anchor would say riots have erupted in cities across the nation, or that there will be no riots. Maybe you will be the only one at the protest at your house with a bottle of brandy burning the U.S. Constitution. When I become earth, will that turn you into fire? Black man, I love you deeper than a casket could ever go. I'd create the afterlife with my bare hands and leave a roll blunt next to your halo. Did you see the blood? The people recording, do you miss me? Will I be warm or cold the next time you touch me? A black man was killed 100 years ago this morning, 200 years ago yesterday, 300 years ago tomorrow. I heard it from the bloody tree street in the newspaper. Black man, you leave for work and war at the same time. I kiss him like a warrior call. I kiss him like I want freedom in him. Can you remember when we fell in love and how we did it in the midst of white supremacy? Isn't loving a black man in America a love war story? When the morning comes, I lay my head across his chest and I listen. His heart is the strongest sound of protest. After dinner tonight, when the police pass, your finger twitches. I will hold your hands and I will never let it go. Black man, we are always between an obituary and a love poem. If our love can survive war, then can't we?
Whoa. That was beautiful. You already know I love that poem. I remember when you read it in front of a group of people, including myself, and we just all passed out.
Yeah, I love that poem too.
So,
I love it.
The question of the week was, Lady Brianna once told me that there's a saying about poetry that you only ever write 5 poems. So, what are your top 5 topics in your poetry?
Black. I'm joking. My top 5, black people, black men, black women, black politics, black mind, body, spirit. So everything that deals with a black person, for real, which is like me. So like my topics are always about that in some way. Our mind, our body, our spirit, our lives here on this plane, on other ones. So everything deals with that.
Wow.
But always giving thanks and praise to the Most High.
Mm-hmm. You're like the black woman god, black god woman. Embodied.
I'm like the black god.
Black woman. You're like the black god scribe. That's what I'm gonna say. There we go.
Yes.
Yes, you. You better.
Yes.
All right.
That's good. Thank you. If I'm a black god, that's awesome.
Thank you.
I'm a black god.
I didn't want to boost your head up too much because I'm trying to get there myself. You feel me? It's like no, I'm just kidding. But thank you, Nakia. Thank you, Fire Angelou.
Thank you, Mecca, and thank you to everyone there at the station. I appreciate you for bringing me on and talking to me.
Do you want to tell everybody where they can find you on social media? And
you can find me on social media everywhere as Fire Angelou, Fire Angelou, like Maya, Fire Angelou.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, fireangelou.com. If you want to check out Daughters of the Diaspora, Daughters of the Diaspora, Facebook and Twitter, and on website. And please, if you're available this Saturday, come out 7:30, 433 Ilchester Avenue for Art of Conversation Baltimore. And, you know what I'm saying, vibe.
Lit. So don't forget, we got a painting of you here. So we're a painting. We give our guest a painting. So you didn't come.
I have a painting?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my God. I get a painting for this? This is so great.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Oh, okay.
So, all right.
Thank you.
You'll get that soon. You live in Baltimore.
I'll come, yes.
I'm pretty sure I'll bump into you
And
just
get a
walking down the
painting.
street.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, Nakia.
Thank you all.
Bye.
Ciao.
I forgot to ask her how she got Fire Angelou as her name. But we're not going to think about that because I'm sad now.
No, it's okay.
Took a little trip deep in the garden. All right, y'all. That was our time. Don't forget.
You
can watch the podcast.
Oh,
Don't forget. She just got her neck swapped.
Them's fighting words.
I didn't say anything. Anyway, don't forget you can watch the podcast after. We're gonna upload this right in a couple of minutes.
What? You just said so.
Anyway. Okay, so Carlos, where can they find you at?
Yeah.
Where can they find you at?
On Twitter at LoisG2, Lois GE2, Instagram LoisG1. How's that buzz? Yeah.
Tyler, where can they find you at, yo?
You can find me on Instagram at CozyTy, COZI.TY. You can find my Twitter there. Y'all don't need my Facebook and not my Snapchat either. Y'all fine.
Oh, okay. Y'all can follow the show on SoapBOX Poetry Radio Show everywhere. SoapBOX Poetry Radio Show. Speak outside, or you can find the hashtag Speak Outside the Box. Anyway, and you can follow me everywhere but my house at Mechamorphosis, MECCA Morphosis, just like Metamorphosis with 2 C's instead of a T. Yep.
It's 1 T.
Yep.
You got it.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Yes.
All right, y'all. We'll see you. This was SoapBOX Poetry Radio. Speak outside the box. Ciao.
Y'all fade away.
Ernest Hemingway. Fuck that sea the old man was in. Fuck those arms he said farewell to. Fuck the white teacher who made me read him. Made me believe he'd be the epitome of poetry. Fuck the white principal who asked me why all my black students' poems are sad or angry. Fuck the white man who told me I should write happy poems. Fuck his white privilege. Fuck white privilege and all the pretty poems it produces. White privilege be like, write a poem about trees, but never reference the black bodies that hung from them. Never get those black bodies on stage. White privilege be horror-themed poems about ghosts and goblins, but never living in neighborhoods where you can actually see them. White privilege be like, write a poem about oceans and seas, but please be sure to ignore the inner city floods and never reference Flint. White privilege be like, write songs about the awesomeness of thrift store shopping, even though your family owns the mall. White privilege be like, write a pretty poem about flowers, but never reference the funeral you were at when you saw them. White privilege be like, take all that loud black anger out your poem so we can button it up for YouTube. White privilege will attempt to edit their sin out of your poem. Dear white man, I am not privileged enough to write a pretty poem about petunias, but anti-assimilation is some sexy shit. Ain't shit sad about surviving genocide. Each fuck you is a dance song from my ancestors. They are throwing a party right now. They're Nat Turner and Tuck Me Turning Up. Ain't that some happy shit? There's beauty in my struggle. My man is miracle. It means the world tried to kill me and failed. Ain't that some happy shit? Fuck your flowers. Fuck your pals. Fuck your privilege. Ain't no poem happier than the one that proves you're still alive. It's in front of everything. Didn't your resilient dandelions teach you that? Johnny Bravo, Dexter's Laboratory, and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were some of the best English teachers a Francophone immigrant like me could ever have. Probably because my accent was also a Saturday morning cartoon.